There's a lot of people out there producing goat cheese and goat milk that aren't very good at it. They don't know how to produce a good milk. Get a lot of bad rap on goat products because people have had bad ones. Goat products are really on the way up. People are finding out how much more healthy they are for you than the cow products. Goat milk is the most drank milk in the world, and goat meat is the most eaten meat in the world. Fresh as it gets. Good to be a mammal. On any dairy animal, they have to be the most important thing in your life. People tell you this is the best cheese I've ever eaten in my life. It's just fantastic. I mean, it makes it all worth it. My name's Wendell Crow. I'm a dairy farmer. Come on back, girls, come on. We milked cows for 40 years, and then we sold our cow herd probably about 12 years ago. We started milking goats then. And I never dreamed how nice the goats would be. Come on, girls, let's go. We got our girls ready to go. When we milk the goats, we make cheese out of that milk that day. If you hold it for days, it loses the flavor, it doesn't taste as good, and your cheese isn't going to be as good. I can make a chev today and have it in a restaurant in 48 hours. The chefs love it, and you can tell the difference in the flavor when it's that fresh. When they come in, the first thing we do is we spray them with a light iodine solution. You gotta wash off the teeth on them. Bacteria can swim, but it can't walk. And so if you have a wet udder, all that water and stuff will end up down around your teeth cup on them. So you need a really clean, dry udder. You take a squirt of milk out of them, you make sure the milk looks good before you start, and you hook up the machine. Takes about maybe 4 or 5 minutes. These are Nubians, they're what we're milking. The sweetest milk and highest fat of any goat. We make cheese out of all of our milk. So we want high protein and high fat milk, and that's what Nubians have. But their butter fat will run around 6 to 7% fat. Whole milk is 3.25%. So these girls are practically giving half and half. So they do about a gallon a day, half a gallon per milking. Cow milk, you only get 1 pound of cheese per gallon, and on goats I can get 2 pounds of cheese per gallon. So a lot better yield. Milking 200 a day, about 200 gallons a day of milk. They produce close to 400 pounds of cheese a day. A lot of the big cheese plants, they'll get their milk from 350 dairies. And so you're gonna have 350 dairymen. Some of them know what they're doing and some don't. You're gonna end up with an average milk and you're gonna end up with an average cheese. We milk the goats and produce the product and deliver it to the restaurant. We do the whole thing all the way through. Only use the best milk we have. If you're using an old milk, it loses the flavor. It'll start tasting goaty. If you make it every day, just as it comes out of the goat, which is what we do, it makes all the difference in the world on the flavor. When we're finished milking, the end of the teats are open, and you don't want them to lay down out in the corral and get bacteria up in their udder. So we dip them in an iodine, it's a thick one. It puts a protective coating over the end of the teat. It takes it about 10 minutes till it closes up good on their own. So they're washed when they come in and dipped when they go out. Most important 10 minutes out of the day for these goats. If something bad's gonna happen, something's gonna go wrong, it's gonna be in here. So you have to do a really good job and take care of them. The animal's attitude and their health is the most important thing of all. If you don't give them the best feed you can buy, the best medical care they can get, if you don't take care of them, they will not produce milk at all. They have to be happy to produce milk. If one gets depressed out here, they'll dry themselves up and not milk. You have to take care of them all the time. See, if you do it, they love you. There. Oh, hello, girls. Group of kids out here. They're waiting for the moms to come back. We let the moms raise the babies, which is fantastic. They're a lot better at raising kids than I do. Very few dairies do that. It makes the mom happier. Her transition into having the kids goes better. She's not stressed out. The kids grow like crazy. It just works out great for everybody. Come on, girls. Come on down there. Even though we let the moms raise their own kids, some of them don't take care of their babies, so I end up feeding some of them. Some of the moms out here, they want to claim every kid that's born. They'll try to steal it and feed them, and then every once in a while you'll get some that just don't want to have anything to do with their kids. But I get to be mom. The kids that were raised on their moms, they are a third bigger than the girls that I have to raise on a bucket. They can get up and get a drink at midnight anytime they want. It's available 24 hours a day. The girls I'm feeding a bucket, they get fed 3 times a day, and they still don't grow anywhere close to what the others do. We started with 16 head about 10 years ago, and a goat herd is pretty easy to double. They average 2 to 3 kids regularly. 5 has been the most. They have a lot of babies. Talk about babies and pregnancy a lot. That's the name of the game when you're dairying. Any mammal doesn't produce milk unless they have a kid. They have to have a baby. These girls are all right at 3 months pregnant. We're going to be drying them, which means we won't be milking them anymore. Between 3 and 5 months, you don't milk them. You have to give them a 2-month vacation. If you just milk them all the way through till they have their baby, you'll burn them out. At 1 year, they have to be bred to have their kid at 13 months. We breed them once a year. We have some that'll milk up to 2 years in between breedings. It's funny, a lot of times in the barn, you'll see a mom, a daughter, and a granddaughter standing by each other. Still milk together, hanging out together. After the goats are milked, it comes down this line into the receiver, and when it gets 10 gallons of milk in it, the pump kicks on. The receiver pumps the milk up the line into the cheese room, or we'll call it the cheese studio. That sounds fancier. Through the wall, dropped in the tank. We make cheese every day, but we still have to refrigerate it while we're waiting for it to be made. We'll keep it at 32 degrees. We have to have graphs on both tanks. This is why inspectors, the state and the feds are really big on is your temperatures and making sure everything was cooked right and held at the right proper temperature. Keeping it cold helps out the flavor a lot also. The sweeter your milk is, the better your cheese is going to be. We do it whatever is going to produce the best product. We've always been like that in our family. If you don't just take the extra steps, like not keeping your bucks with your does, you end up with an inferior product, and you can't make a good cheese out of a crappy milk. But we keep them up here because they go into rut just like deer and elk do. And if they're out there with your girls, they get to smelling so bad, they'll get on the girls, they'll smell bad, and your milk will end up tasting like these guys. You come out here and they are dripping head to toe in pee. They think they smell great, the girls think they smell great, everyone but us. That's why I warn everybody about petting zoos. That yellow beard on that goat, it's not supposed to be yellow. If I was producing for a large creamery, I wouldn't separate my bucks because it's a lot of work doing it this way. I would just let them run with the girls. But you end up with a bad tasting milk. And that's why when a lot of people get goat milk that doesn't taste good, they're running their bucks with their does. We can't eat grass, we can't eat sticks, leaves, things like that. Our body won't digest them. These girls can eat stuff like that and turn it into fantastic milk that we can eat. A cow and a sheep, their molars are like ours, they're flat. Where on a goat, their molars are like serrated knives back there. If you get your finger back there too far, they could bite your finger off. They're made to bite through branches. When a goat eats, they fill up their first stomach. They're rumen. Then they'll go lay down. They'll spit up their food a second time, chew it a second time, chewing their cud. Then they swallow it and it goes to the other stomachs. The reason they would do that in the wild, if there were predators around, they'd run out in the meadow, gobble up all the grass they could really fast, then go lay down in the trees, hang out and hide out and digest it later. The cellular structure of goat milk is 4 times smaller than a cow milk. And so it can just be consumed by anybody, babies, puppies, kittens, a horse, anybody, any baby who needs milk. It's fantastic for them. There's lots of people who think that they are lactose intolerant. They're able to drink and eat goat products because of that smaller structure of the milk. So now we're going to cook it to 145 degrees for 30 minutes. That's the least invasive pasteurization that you can do. There's a couple others. One's 160 degrees for 10 seconds, and one is 202 degrees, I believe, for 2 seconds. And when you do that, there is nothing in the milk. It just completely kills everything. At this low temperature pasteurization, vat pasteurizing, the way we do it, it keeps the milk intact to make cheese. If you do the 160 or the 200, it completely changes the structure of the milk and it doesn't make a good cheese. So it's a lot slower doing it this way, but it makes a fantastic product. We'll cool it back down, cool it down to around 88 degrees, and then we'll add a culture to it. We let it ripen for a while. Then we add our rennet to it. Rennet is an enzyme that comes from the stomach of a lamb or a calf. It has to be a baby that hasn't sucked on their mom. And then the rennet we use is one that's derived from a mushroom. It's what makes the milk coagulate into a curd. If you didn't use rennet, you would make something like sour cream or the quark we make. Those don't have rennet in them. They are cultured products. When we're making cheese, it's all about times and temperatures. You can make a million different cheeses out of the same culture and same rennet. Fastest one I can make is about 30 hours. I can make a chev. About 15 hours ripening and then about 15 hours hanging on the cheese trolley here, waiting for the whey to drain out of it. Feta takes at least a week on it. By the time you dry salt it, brine it, do everything else. We're doing a chev. It's a French style cream cheese. We're using cheese bags on our chev, and a lot of people will use a mold when they make chev, and then they salt the outside of it. What we do, we just add salt and blend it into the cheese. It's a lot more uniform tasting product, preserves it better, and salt is a big part of cheese making. We use lots and lots of salt, probably a couple 100 pounds a week of salt. You got to come up with different ideas. This was the sausage press that we fill the containers with. A regular piston filler can cost like $16,000 to fill cheese with, and this one is like an $800 machine. And then we make quark, which is like making Greek yogurt, but a buttermilk culture. And I bag up the buttermilk into a bag, leave it in here. It takes about a week. You flip the bag over and the curd stays in the bag, and then it collects the whey in the bottom. We even have 2 vegans that buy my cheese, but they know we treat our animals well, and so that's why they still buy some cheese from us. They buy the peppercorn feta. They make me swear not to tell anyone who they are. But they call it their steak. It's really a creamy feta. It's not a hard one. The chefs just love it like this. Man, it is good. And so what we do is we make a lot of feta and we save it for the winter and sell the feta in the winter time. It's one cheese I get a pretty good shelf life on. The chev, the quark, they're all 30-day shelf life, but the feta we can get up to 6 months on it. I do the deliveries myself. It really helps that I'm standing in that chef's kitchen twice a week. They're wanting to know what's new, what's going on. And I enjoy it more than when I was milking cows and I just shipped milk off. The benefit of buying local is we're doing small batches. We're more precise on what we're doing. You get your local flavors. We feed our girls some mesquite trees for a snack. Our hay is grown right across the river from us. We only use alfalfa and barley is what we feed them. So they get fantastic feed. It just keeps everything as a community, and it's so much better for me that I finally know where my milk's going. Our name is on the product. When you have your name on there, you do everything completely different. We make sure they have the best feed, the best care. Without treating them right, they do not produce. Goat products are on the way up. They're really exploding now. People are finding out how much more healthy they are for you than the cow product. The goat numbers are increasing by quite a bit in the United States. Even though they're the most popular product in the rest of the world, the U.S. is catching up with them rapidly. On the big cow dairies milking 10,000 head, they're more of just a number, more one of the machines on the farm. But here, they get to be part of the family, our goats do.